Real Fans Podcast, episode 43. I'm back out here with the boys.
What's up?
Your boy Julian, your boy Gabe. The famous Gabe. Let's not talk about that.
About that wild ass beard.
I think you're too famous for the podcast now. I think you're moving on.
I mean,
things. You're moving on to greater things now.
Did we even talk about that?
I know. For a second, I was like, "Damn, is he about to shout us out?" I was like, "Is he about to shout us out?" And I was like,
"Nah, guys, we got a lot of sports to talk about. March Madness, crazy moves in the NFL, NBA news, fight night, baseball, everything you could think of. We got going on right now.
It's crazy week. Crazy week.
Let's talk about. Let's start baseball first. But I just want to hit base with it because JoJo and I.
Pun intended.
Julian, not so much. Still a lockout.
Base not.
It was crazy. The MLB season innings, but then we go into a lockout. The players are locked out. Discussions. They've actually started going forth. But I think Rob Manfred came out a couple days ago last week and suspended at least opening day and maybe the first few games.
He suspended the first
but
series.
Also came on the news. Okay. But
yeah,
also
the first series, and I think he just did the second series as well.
So it seems like it's going to be like that. The COVID season where it's like it's like half season. Right now they're negotiating. I think 14 teams. That's one of the concerns. Like we're headed down the line of having like another half season. 60 games, 80. And one of the biggest news that came out this week was Apple TV. They saw that, but Apple TV, they're trying to get into the live sports game with their subscription. So
yeah, the MLB.
So they're going to be. They just signed a deal, in the middle of this lockout. So to me, it kind of looks like that. Maybe not as a whole season, just like before, 162 games, but it seems like why would Apple TV sign out? They're in dispute with their players, with their workers. So I think sounds like we're gonna have baseball. But I don't know about this lockout. Are you looking forward to another half season? Do you think? Would you like a half?
Well, I'm actually surprised. I remember we spoke about this early on when we first heard about the lockout in general, and we said, I think it was me and you. We agreed that they're not going to delay the season, that they're going to come to an agreement. And the players, man, they rejected, the agreement, whatever went on. Obviously, we don't know the details in that, but I guess they didn't like what was stated in there. They disagreed, probably didn't benefit them much or resolve any issues that they, have spoken about. But in terms of a shortened season, I'm for it. I'm for it because that COVID season we had was very competitive. I don't want there to be 62 games. That's a little too short, but every game mattered. Just like in a regular 162 game season, every game mattered as well. It's just over a longer period of time. But when it's shortened, now you really know, like, you have to win there and now, right? If you have a slump, you need to get out of it. You can't wait 10, 15 games to get out of your slump, or your starting pitchers need to do what they have to do on the mound every, fifth day that they're out there. And that playoff intensity, they widened the playoffs. Marlins, saw a playoff berth, beat the Cubs. Anything happen. I don't think they're going to cut half the season, but that's just me being optimistic because who knows if the players and, everyone else comes to an agreement on this moving forward. But you can just be optimistic. We want to see baseball, right? It's already March. Spring training should be happening. Like pitchers should be out there on the mound doing their thing. Players getting their cuts in. Everyone back from vacation. Right now, it's baseball season.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I think a lot of guys are still training. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, I think it's not going to be shortened because I think a lot of those spots, those TV spots, all that stuff, all those contracts are already set and put in motion for 162 games. So I don't think it's going to get shortened, but I think everything's just going to get pushed back. Everything's just going to be delayed. We might get baseball into November, late November.
Baseball. No, they're going to be playing in the snow.
Yeah, it's going to fuck, dude. Yeah, I mean, especially if you get in like those cold cities, like it's going to be rough.
They might even make
But
up games, and they just might have a jam-packed schedule.
I think, yeah,
7 games in a row. Hey, you got to
maybe
play your
skip,
bench. You got to play
maybe
your bench.
skip All-Star weekend. Maybe, I don't know.
Possibility.
I don't know. I'm just like making that up.
Yeah.
But
And you got to remember, games already, like rain delay games get postponed. They got to reschedule on that. So you got to remember that for the rest of the season as well. Maybe they'll cancel games.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I
No.
think I definitely don't see a shortened season. I don't think that's going to happen. I think all these deals and everything's been made to make it for a 62 game season. We're not probably going to see it if they ever do, which they should, and who knows if they ever will because they're so like stuck in their old ways. But
That's a fact.
it's going to be a long time before you see it, and I don't know. I think a part of it too is kind of crazy to think like they're kind of okay with delaying the season because I feel like if there's any sport who should really be worried about delaying their seasons and can't really afford to, I feel like it's the MLB. Like you're getting into this is about to be the MLB's like zone where it's like that summer where they don't have a lot of competition. And I feel like delaying or doing a shortened season without the anticipation of it is just not going to be very good. And people are just going to kind of forget.
For the fans, you definitely don't want to kill that anticipation, right? Like, again, like I know it's March. I know spring is right around the corner. So, baseball season's there. And then for them to postpone it, which obviously we know why, but, not everyone's a diehard baseball fan like we are. Well, Gabe and I, you know what I mean? You might have those casuals out there who really just look forward to opening day, and then they'll maybe watch in another 2-3 months to see how their team is doing, and then All-Star, and then playoffs come around, Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of a slight transition, but not really, because I was actually watching the show ESPN FC, and they're talking about, because me and Gabe, you weren't here, Jojo, we were talking briefly about like the MLS opener and stuff like that. And we're talking about like kind of the growth and how much it's exploding. Charlotte just had an opening day, their inaugural first game, 75,000 people in Charlotte. 75,000 is completely jam-packed. And what falls right in line with baseball. Baseball's only MLS's only competition is baseball. And it's like you're seeing this traction building, and it's a World Cup year coming on, which there's always a little bit of a boom because of that. And it's like, man, this is not the year for baseball to really be slacking. And like, especially like, there's a growing fan base of this sport. And it's like, hopefully they can get it together and do something, because like you said, man, 75,000 people, that's a huge crowd. That's more than what the Panthers get. And if they can consistently get that, I mean, a lot of these places are pulling in more fans granted, it's less games, but on average, they're pulling more than these MLB games. And MLB just has big TV money for sure. That's what keeps MLB so afloat. And who knows how much they're getting from this Apple thing. But they were talking about like, does this hurt baseball because of that? And if it coincides, like, do you guys think that could eventually? You think that would hurt it in a sense, like help with young fans?
As far as young fans,
people trying to discover the sport.
I think, like I said earlier, it makes the games more exciting. It makes more. I love baseball already. I feel like it's pretty good. I mean, I don't know if it's good for their bottom line, because on all these games they have to put advertising, right? They sign all these big contracts with whatever Bally Sports, and they sign whoever LA signs with for advertising stuff. So I want to sell you my Ritz crackers. Give me to reducing it. I don't know how all that money works out. It makes it more exciting. It makes it like JoJo said, makes playoff. Every game matters. It makes it more interesting to me. I think in general, all these leagues should reduce. In hockey, should reduce their games. NFL's already.
But I mean, so much. I mean, like whatever. In the sense of like, do you think MLB should be worried of seeing this, like the success of what's going on? Yeah, the rise in popularity, and this just happens to be coming to when an MLB lockout's happening. And do you think it hurts them in a way for like these like kids growing up watching it?
Well, I don't, because
I guess
right
everything else
now
is
you're
kind of
showing
like
like just a small sample in one city, right? So hey, maybe there were these hidden soccer fans in that city, finally got a team, so they showed out.
Well, not necessarily, because they just beat Atlanta's record, 74,000. Atlanta averages about 40,000 fans a game. Seattle, same boat. The average, I think, is about 22,000 fans a game. It's not every time, like, you know, Cincinnati sells out about 25,000 all the time. Like Austin, like me and Gabe were talking about, sells out 22,000 every single game, every single week. I'm just wondering, like, in my head, I think if I was the MLB, it's something to not like so soon, but it's something to think about, because it's like it's the only sport currently that is directly competing with your time frame. And that's just kind of like my thought. I was like, that could be something to work when it comes to the future generations.
I would agree with that. Anything, everything is a competition to MLB, right? Because they're trying to fight for your attention and your dollars. So, and I think season will help with that. Like maybe not for me, the guy who likes baseball. To me, is exciting. I don't know. That's just
I think short season helps for sure. Yeah,
I want to get. Yeah. Following if we have.
I think it for sure would help.
There's not really too much, but let's get into the NFL today and yesterday. There's stuff happening all
exciting
over
things,
the
fellas.
league. Probably
exciting.
Probably the biggest story. Well, one of the stories heading into this season was Aaron Rodgers, who had a kerfuffle. I don't know what you want to say. He had a problem going into this league that he wasn't going to show up to camp. He plays a season key for the season again.
Back to back. We're losing Gabe here.
A major deal. He signed, re-signed.
We're losing Gabe.
Oh, you're losing me? Damn it.
Yeah. Man down. Anyways. That McDonald's Wi-Fi, man. You got to change that up.
You gotta fix that, dude.
You got to go to Dunkin' Donuts.
You got to get the private one, not the open Wi-Fi.
Aaron Rodgers. What you got on Aaron Rodgers, Julian? What you got?
All right, I'll take over for Gabe while he figures that out. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers just signed a 4-year deal, $200 million. It's going to be the highest, most paid, God, what? I'm taking over Gabe, but I can't even speak. Highest paid contract in NFL history per year. Pretty wild fucking deal. Everybody kind of thought that he was going to maybe move. I was on the boat. I was on the side where I thought it was a done deal that he was gone.
He was out of here. After all that controversy, the only way to keep that man was to pay that man the way they paid him. Back-to-back MVP in the league, and we're talking quarterback, hardest position in the league. They weren't ready. No matter what they went through, they were not ready to give him up.
Yeah, and I thought for sure Denver, signing the Green Bay OC, I thought for sure that was going to be a power move to bring him in. Me and Gabe talked about that. We actually have a video that's got over 1,000 views on YouTube talking about that exact topic.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to think that he really stayed. Like, I'm surprised. And then due to that,
money talks.
Yeah. And I don't even think I guess money did play a factor, because in my mind, it wasn't so much the money that I think that Aaron wanted to leave Green Bay. I think it was more so the situation, because he was going to get paid regardless.
No, he wanted to leave the situation 100%. And that's what I'm saying. Green Bay, the organization, they made sure to give him that offer, and that was the only way to keep him. That's why I said money talks. It's not that he wanted the money from them. He could have gotten paid anywhere else. But that's the only way they got him to stay. Give him the highest paid contract. In all honesty.
Then on top of that, they tagged Devontae. So Devontae's going to be there another year. But the part of me, what makes me a little surprised too, is granted, we'll see when free agency hits and draft and everything, but it seems like Green Bay still hasn't done any. Obviously, we'll see. I think the new season starts the 13th, the new league year. So all the free agents are going to be the 13th, with Monday. We'll see what they end up doing, because Green Bay is notoriously known for not really spending money on free agents. So I can't imagine. They must have told him something that they're going to completely revamp it and bring more weapons, bring more offensive linemen,
there
add to the defense. They got a plan. there's got to.
He's beginning stuck, right? The organization's beginning stuck, and Rodgers
Yeah, and I think
great regular season, playoff time.
They lack depth. They lack depth, and I think there's some sort of plan. I think they obviously talked with him about to get him on board for sure. But Gabe, were you surprised?
Yes, I was hugely surprised. I hope you guys can hear me now. Am I still okay? No?
Yeah, you're good.
Can't hear me? All right.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I was hugely surprised because he made such a big so the fact that he came back, I guess shout out to Randall Cobb. You kept Aaron Rodgers in there. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. But whatever, good for him. He got paid, and I guess that's what I thought. A lot of people thought it was about respect, like, oh, you guys are doing to improve the franchise. Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. I still think, like you guys said, like there's not a lot of depth on that team. There's tons of injuries of guys being out, and it seems like the only consistent thing going forward. I still think they'll be competitive. How far will they go? I don't know. But, I mean, I guess good for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you made a stink. You got paid.
Well, that's what I'm –
congrats.
Yeah, that's what I was saying because I think the only reason they have some sort of plan put in place that they worked with him to get more players because to me, that's got to be the only reason why he stayed is that they have something in the works that's about to happen to get them over that hump because I can't imagine him running it back with the same team and him wanting to stay there. I find that really hard to believe when he could go to so many other places that have a way better roster. So there's got to be something there. Yeah. But who knows? Like,
but yeah,
at least they as of right now they got the same guy.
Transition. One of the funniest things I saw on Twitter the other day was Jerry Jeudy, your Broncos, JoJo, tweeting out the sad face once that Aaron Rodgers got signed all that money, sad face. But then only a couple hours, Jerry Jeudy's tweeting out a smiley face.
He said, "Oh, it's lit."
The Broncos acquired Wilson for. Let me just read it off the top because I can't remember. 2 first-round picks, 2 fifth-round selection, and a 4th-round pick into the Broncos, including Noah Fant, Drew Lock, and, of course, defensive lineman Shelby. JoJo, how do you feel about Broncos right now?
Ecstatic is not even a word because I've been preaching it, and I'm saying we are literally a quarterback away. We did not get the guy we wanted. Unfortunately, we didn't have that kind of money to give him. So shout out to Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers, for making it happen for you guys. That's fine. Now, yes, we gave up a lot on this, but this means that we want to win. This shows that we want to win, and we know what the team needed to acquire to win this season, to move forward, right? To not stay stagnant. We understood the issue. We needed a quarterback. We have a great young team that had a great young rookie class last season. So we drafted what we needed to draft. We know our future. And that's it. We got our guy, Russell Wilson. Hey, I got faith in him. I mean, Seattle's O-line didn't really take care of him. Their defense isn't the same. The whole organization changed the last couple of years. So I feel like, a fresh home for him to produce, to lead. He's a great leader. And that's what this franchise needs because we had great leaders in the past. And we just got another one, a big one.
Yeah, the only thing that sucks that I
could be short, but we got a big leader.
The only thing that sucks is like, yeah, fuck the picks, whatever. Who cares? Yeah. Like, who's to say that pick would end up being anything? But the only part of the trade that kind of sucks that you wish you could have kept was Noah Fant.
Exactly,
having like a number 1 tight end like there.
Yeah.
Shelby Harris, you can replace him. Like I said, the picks is kind of whatever. I think Russell Wilson makes it, but like, damn, it would have been nice to keep that extra weapon.
I know how important it is to have a great tight end, right? They're hard to come by in the league, but I mean, just off the roster itself, like wide receivers, we got Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, running backs, Melvin Gordon III, cornerback on our defensive side, PS2, all these young guys going like
best safety in the league.
We're here to play. Hey, we might get Von Miller back. I'm optimistic about that. He got
I think this
ring.
is
Come home.
The one thing that kind of sucks is I was really looking at for the Jags, the Brandon Scherf, the offensive guard for the Broncos. He's probably the best guard in the league right now. And I think with this move for Russell, it's pretty much saying they're probably going to re-sign him to a big contract for sure. Because I was like, that he was like the number one guy I wanted because we need O-linemen so bad in Jacksonville. And now there's no way Russell's going there without them saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to re-sign Sheriff to help shore up that line."
Let's get rid of his O-line note.
But man, they're good, and I'm thinking about it now. It's like, okay, yeah, you lose Noah Fant, but to be fair, there is a ton of tight ends in free agency this year. There's a lot of really good guys in free agency, so maybe they could easily replace him, but. That's going to be one tough ass division, bro. Like that already changed the NFC West from being the toughest division to now the AFC West, because now you're in a division with Herbert, Mahomes, Wilson, and Carr. Yeah. And that's going to be hard. Very, very hard. We might even see like the entire division get into the playoffs, possibly, which I don't even remember the last time I think I've ever seen that.
It would have been the Ravens Browns.
It very well.
The Ravens Browns Steelers when they got it.
Yeah, but Cincinnati didn't make it.
Bengals.
But I'm saying, like, with 17 playoffs, all 4 of them could get in.
Listen, man, it's going to be an exciting year. And I told you guys, and I'm glad the organization is making moves to set us up to potentially go to a Super Bowl. It might not happen right away, but hey, I hear the playoffs calling.
When you get Oh, they're making the playoffs for sure. I mean, they almost made it with fucking Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Luck 2 years in a row. They almost made it with those bum ass quarterbacks. Russell Wilson's like 3 times the quarterback that they are.
Yeah, I feel
like
bad
they're for sure making it.
I feel bad for Seattle, and they got Drew Luck. I actually feel bad for that.
Yeah, he's gonna have a career. So he's gonna revive his career.
You think so? With a dying organization? Man, they're on the brink of collapse, bro. They're clearing house.
Pete Carroll's gone, dude. There's no way he's going to stick around at 72 years old. What's up, Gabe?
No, that's what I was going to ask. I was like, what does that mean for Pete Carroll in Seattle? Oldest coach in the fucking league. Like, is he going to stick around and do a rebuild? Man, that guy should just retire.
He says he is. He says that he's going to stay, and this isn't a rebuild. I don't know. We'll see. They still got their receivers. I mean, I just feel like just blow the shit up, dude. Like, unless they got a quarterback they like at 9, but I don't think they're going to draft one because the way Pete Carroll's sounding like he doesn't want to rebuild, or unless this caught him by surprise, because leading up to all this, Pete Carroll was saying that Russell Wilson's going to be on this team. And him and Pete Carroll were getting along great, and maybe this just kind of caught Pete Carroll by surprise and what happened, but I don't know, man. Like I said, Pete Carroll, he's a good looking 72. That man's active. He's in shape. He looks good, but I don't know, man. Like, you get a rookie, you got to give the rookie 4 years. He's gonna be like 76 out there on the fucking sidelines. Like, I don't know about that. I think if I was just if I was a Seahawks fan, I just feel like just blow it up. Get what you can. You get a shit ton of picks. Trade Metcalf. Trade Lockett. Just fucking get rid of everybody. Just start moving. Trade Jamal Adams. Like, you got some pieces you can get some picks for. Just fucking stack it up. Just get rid of it. Because what are you going to do with the Metcalf and Lockett with Drew Lock? And then, like, you have Jamal Adams. Like,
that could be the new power.
You're going to lock it down.
And then you got Jamal Adams. He's not going to want to be on that team because he believes he's a top safety in the league. So it's like, just blow it up. Get rid of it. Get as many fucking picks as you can. You could stack it up. And the good thing is, too, all these picks are within the next 2 years. So even if the only thing that sucks is that 2023 first round pick is going to be a high one because more than likely the Broncos are going to be probably seed pretty well. So that's probably going to be a late first rounder. So your highest pick probably is going to be this year at 9.
Trade up.
I don't know if you like a quarterback. That is true. You do got the weaponry to trade up. So maybe next year they trade up. which could be possible because this year's quarterback class sucks ass. So next year's supposedly supposed to be pretty good. But man, good for Russell Wilson. It looks like he's finally going to be on a competent team for once.
Good for my Broncos, man.
And fuck, dude, yeah.
How soon? Have you ordered, JoJo? Have you ordered the jersey already?
I was about to say, when you get in that jersey.
Listen, as soon as it drops on the site,
Let's make a custom one.
It's Gamecock. All right. I'm between either buying Wilson's jersey or Von Miller comes back. I need a Von Miller jersey.
They're for sure going to start getting some primetime games now, too.
So, listen, man, I don't want to see all these bandwagon fans come out of nowhere.
Oh, nobody can.
I already see
like you.
I know. Russell, listen. I know Russell Wilson's married to Ciara. Gonna get all the Ciara fans over here on this side to Denver. You know what I'm saying? Listen. I've been preaching in this podcast for about a year and a half now. The time is now. We got our quarterback. All right.
I will say this real quick. We can end it here unless you guys have final thoughts. I was gonna say, like, do you think Kansas City can maintain the records that they've been having, like sub four losses? I think they're going to get over four losses. I mean, you got 6 games of really good playoff teams, essentially. Guaranteed. I don't even know what the rest of their schedule looks like. Who knows what the rest of their schedule looks like? If they get less than 4 wins or less, like that's Kansas City's. That's for real. But granted, I don't think they will because their defense is not that great, and they're in a division that can get lit up.
Hope is to at least split with each team, go 1-on-1 with each one. You know, yeah. I think that'll be whoever gets over the hump. Whoever gets over the hump and beats the team twice, then those games are going to be
shootout galore. Like there's going to be every one of those is going to be shootouts because Kansas City cannot defend the ball.
No,
at all. But let's talk about another big quarterback trade that literally just happened. We're filming this Wednesday, the 9th. Literally just happened 30 minutes before we got on. Carson Wentz traded to the Washington Commanders. One, I'm going to take a minute for me to get used to saying that. But, yeah.
What a tremendous sentence. I don't know, man. What did he get traded for? He got a couple picks. They said it was a pack.
I don't know. Let me look it up.
I think a couple of picks. Seeing on Twitter, package to include 2 third-round picks, according to sources. Adam Schefter obviously put this out like an hour ago. I don't know the exact details of the deal, but
all right. So, you want me to tell you right now, or did you get it?
No, you can tell me. I didn't see it.
All right. So the Colts will receive Commanders' 3rd-round picks for 2022 and 2023.
Commanders.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I can't even think it's serious.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad, guys.
The 3rd rounder for 2022. So the 2023 3rd round pick is a conditional pick. If Carson Wentz plays more than 70% of Washington snaps, that 3rd rounder in 2023 will become a 2nd round pick in 2023. The teams also swapped 2nd round picks this year, with the Colts moving up from 47 to 43, 42, and Washington going up to 47. So, and Washington will pay the full $28 million due to Wentz, including a $5 million roster bonus due next week.
Wow.
For Wentz.
Yo, why do you want...
They still believe in this guy? Like, no offense to him, but...
Dude, what is going on? Real quick, Carson Wentz's agent has got to be the best fucking agent ever. The fact that this man is still getting paid...
Put that guy in the Hall of Fame.
The fact that this man's still getting paid almost $30 million a year, plus signing bonus, which is $1 million a year, is beyond me. And he's been playing so bad for the past 3 seasons, and this man's still getting paid.
Yo, Carson Wentz
Philly signed a bad contract.
Carson Wentz is a goddamn tin man. He's the oil up his shit. He's got arthritis. He's torn ACLs.
Arthritis.
He's got...
The man, we talk about Joe Burrow's peg leg.
Hey, he made a comeback on that peg leg, but Wentz, I don't know.
They're going to have to rebuild him.
You're going to have to look up his report, bro. Like
2 sprained ankles at the same, both ankles sprained. And he's reckless as fuck.
Arrest this man.
He said he got arrested.
Carson Wentz. Highway robbery right there.
Highway
Yo, it's a
robbery.
win. It's a win for the Colts. The Colts win this fucking deal. It doesn't matter whatever they get rid of Carson Wentz, they win.
Bro, it's the only way they get rid of him. And look,
I
team
think
with a new
too-
name took him.
Indy's they're gearing up to get somebody. I don't think they're drafting. They're gonna maybe they will. I don't know. But I think Indy, they're in a position to win now. Who's out there though? I can't think of it at the top of my head, but like who are you gonna get? You know, you gonna trade for Kirk Cousins? Like Jimmy G? Are you gonna get Are they gearing up for Jimmy G?
That's a possibility.
Maybe.
Like I don't think they're drafting. I'll tell you that much. I think they might be gearing. Maybe these picks they're getting for Jimmy G. I'm kind of surprised Washington's willing to take on that contract and the roster bonus signing. That's kind of wild to me.
Terrible.
Does this make Washington better? I think it slightly does. I don't think that Washington's kind of in the same place as the Colts. I think the Colts are a little bit of a better team than Washington overall, but Washington's still a really solid team and has a really good roster with a really good coach in Ron Rivera. They're one of those situations where they don't have the quarterback. Heineke, he was solid at times, but let's be real, Heineke's a great backup. That's all he is. That's all he ever will be. Carson Wentz, I will say, he's not a great quarterback. I think he's a little bit of an upgrade from Heineke. Kind of, but he might get you a couple more wins. He might squeeze you into the playoffs, but he also might cost you, like they did the Colts. The Colts couldn't beat the Jaguars, the worst team in the league, team getting the number 1 overall pick. They couldn't secure the win to get into the playoffs in the final week of the game because of his poor play. And you want to bring that guy onto your team who couldn't even beat the worst team in the league? I think it helps them. But I don't think it's going to take – I mean, they're not going to take – you're going to tell me Carson Wentz is going to beat Dak Prescott and the Cowboys or even
Jalen Hurts.
Philly? Like,
yeah.
They might beat the Giants. Like I said, they got a really solid defense, and it might help them a little bit. They might be like a 500 team, but I don't think they send them over the edge. Maybe. Unless somehow fucking Ron Rivera has the cure to fix him and turn him back into 2017 Carson Wentz, where he was in the running for MVP. But
they got to Frankenstein this guy, man. This guy has a motherfucking Frankenstein. Pieces of other dead corpses going to put together for this guy to get on the field.
Pieces of other dead corpses.
Yeah. I feel like Philly and Dallas are better. I think they secured Dallas as the favorites. And let's see what Jalen Hurts. I'm big on Jalen Hurts. I'm up on Jalen Hurts.
Quick note on Cowboys. A little bit of Cowboys obligatory talk. Looks like Amari Cooper's gone out of there. All those reports are showing that they're kicking him out. So we'll see if that actually happens come Monday.
All right,
but
and also
I'm kind of surprised they're doing that.
Speaking of league, over the weekend, I think the NFL announced that they suspended Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, who was out, right? He left this year. He left this year, the Atlanta Falcons, for mental health issues, and people respected his decision to not play. But while he was not playing, he was also betting on football. Julian, do you have any more details, any opinions on Calvin Ridley play a game of football, suspended by the league for betting on football?
So he's suspended indefinitely for the entire season and will have to go to appeal process to come in.
Bizarre, bro.
Yeah. And you know the fucked up thing, and it always seems to happen this way. It's always like the guy with a ton of talent. Calvin Ridley, I don't know if you guys, none of us really watch a lot of Atlanta football.
I like Calvin Ridley.
Dude could flat out. He's good. He is when he's in a number 1 position, I mean, he had Julio next to him, so who knows like how good he is without Julio. Yeah. But like, the man can fly. He is fast as fuck. He is a great wide receiver. He was like potentially on the trading block for a lot of teams. I was for sure looking at him for my team. But damn,
another bad season for the Falcons. They just can't put it together. They just can't figure it out. Listen, and it's always the players with the most talent that make the worst decisions.
It's always,
but how would he know?
Always happens.
He's doing his thing. Like
he sacrificed he put up 1,500 and lost like 10 mil.
A game parlay,
and gave up 10 mil.
if y'all don't know parlay, you have to win. You know, it's like I have to bet that whatever Falcons gonna win this week, and the Dolphins win, and then I get paid out. So parlay, you know, it's like a train of bets, whatever.
Yeah,
which is kind of silly.
It's hitting all your bets at once.
Yeah,
it's a legal thing that he was doing. He thought it was legal at the time, but obviously because he is an NFL player in the NFL league, they don't want the players.
Where was he gambling?
I think he was in Florida somewhere. I think it was the Falcons.
I was gonna say because he can't. Obviously, you can't gamble in Georgia and Florida. You can't anymore. They revoked it again.
Yeah, well, I think that's what he did at the time. I guess they have whatever the specific casino book that he was using, but apparently they had his name and they got reported. And I think it's pretty egregious. A year is pretty egregious. Don't you think a year is pretty egregious, like in general?
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. And I think here's what they're trying to do. They're obviously trying to make an example out of the situation. Yeah. So they're like, that's not allowed regardless. And you know, NFL always has the most egregious like repercussions for anyone that breaks the rules in there. Like always something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like what's smoking weed, like what's his name? Who just got reinstated. Didn't he get reinstated?
A lot of players.
Josh Gordon.
I mean, a lot of players, though.
Specifically.
Yeah. Man, I think he should get suspended for some games. A whole year. At first, I was kind of on board with it. But then it's like, I don't know. A whole year does seem like a lot. But then I was seeing reports that he betted on games every week. So I think the reason why they're so strong in it, because I mean, obviously there's a history of this, not even just football in all sports. Obviously, Pete Rose is the biggest example. Like that is I think you got to set the tone now with the way sports betting is getting legalized by a lot of states. I think you cannot show that this is okay. A whole season might be a little too much. I do think you should get suspended look, if Tom Brady got suspended for using a slightly deflated ball, versus this guy betting on games, like after being directly involved with the NFL, I think you should get suspended at some sort. Because like if they're like, I feel like you don't even have to be told that. That's just kind of like something like, yeah, you shouldn't do this, especially due to the history of like betting in the sport.
Isn't that in their contract? Like honestly,
but he's still employed by the NFL.
Yeah, where money's involved, you shouldn't have a hand in that because then, again, like throwing games is illegal. You get suspended for that. Like you're just supposed to stay away. Honestly, you're not even supposed to be on the app looking what the over-unders are or anything.
It's just dumb. You shouldn't do that. Like it's such common sense. Like it's just dumb. Like you should. Everybody knows that like that is in any sport that's a big no. Like you just shouldn't do that. And
bro, it's like betting on yourself. Like, okay, I'm supposed to have 5 catches today. You get your 5, you stop. Or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And
or you bet on the under and you're just like, fuck it. I'm not playing anymore. I'm sitting out or whatever, like because you got the under. It's just stupid.
Exactly.
It's just like grown men doing dumb things.
Okay, but I think in general, I think people, it's known that like professional players, they bet on planes. Like if you watch the fucking Last Dance, you saw how Michael Jordan is so competitive, betting on everything. Betting if you can make a fucking paper ball in a trash can or some shit. Dude, they bet, they play games, they play spades, they put, what I mean? This is something they do on the side. Now I understand, okay, you're an NFL player, don't bet on NFL games. But it's not like the NFL is coming down because he's just betting in general. He could have bet on fucking hockey games. He could have bet on fucking any other kind of sport. And
I think the issue was that it was NFL games.
Yeah,
he's employed by the NFL.
Falcons. Yeah, Falcons games.
Yeah, I think that is the big issue.
So I think it's a bit egregious, man. Like it's fucking heavy-handed as hell, heavy-handed as fuck. Just tell them, hey, don't do it again, and that's it. Let it be, whatever. But it's just so heavy-handed. It's strange the way they try to moralize and be like weird. It's just so fake to me. It's just it's
the shield. It's the whole like I get where you're coming from. I do, like I understand it, but there comes to a certain point where it's like you just know better. Like why are you doing this? Like maybe not a whole season, but you should get suspended. And if you look at like other suspensions, I think what he did was worse than what other people did and got suspended for games. So he should definitely get suspended. And it's just like, Gabe, like for real, if you're an athlete, would you bet? Like, but not to do that. Like that's just, and it might be even written in your contract. I'm sure it's in your contract somewhere, especially after the history that we have in American sports of betting on games, especially in baseball and stuff like that. I'm sure it's written somewhere. And the continuing legalization of it, like you signed this contract that you are supposed to do this, this, and this, and you broke it. And like that's just how it is. And in a terrible way, you bet on so many games, like games that you're directly involved with. Yeah, you're not playing. I get that you're not playing, but you're still directly involved with the team. You're still signed by that team. You're still an employee, and it's just like he's a grown ass man. Like you're a grown ass man.
It's not. I don't think it's about the actual. It just gives the appearance of like, oh, there could be some shady shit going on. But like, here's the thing. Like, you can fucking Ray Rice. Like I said, got 2 games. He got his shit reduced. From like
that was ridiculous. Yeah,
on camera, and then 2 games you're back. Fucking Greg Hardy got a job. Fucking Jerry Jones signed Greg Hardy after he beat his girlfriend with like apparently there was guns involved, thrown on the bed and shit.
Don't get me wrong.
That
completely agree.
We're all good with that. But then when you fucking bet a game and he was doing it in the legal, in a state where it was legal or whatever. I understand. I understand the appearance of it, but like all these guys are competitors. Like betting money on games. Well, I'll say like betting money on card games, betting money on other sports games. These guys are competitors. Like I said, Michael Jordan.
I think you're okay to do that. Like obviously, yeah, you can bet on like little games and stuff that's not affected by what it is. And I completely agree with you. The fact that like, these guys can do all these ridiculously egregious things. Like, you mentioned those 2 guys and then you have like Michael Vick and like, I think Alden Smith too. Like obviously, Smith, yeah. Like there's a laundry list of guys that have done all kinds of shit, but I mean, yeah, I mean, we got to look at this by case situation. What it is, it's like at the end of the day, what he did was wrong. He shouldn't have done it. And it's probably, I'm sure it's written somewhere in your contract you shouldn't do it and you should get suspended for it. The problem is, your problem is the consistency of like how somebody can get only 2 game suspension versus, it seems like the one thing the NFL doesn't like is when you break their rules. Obviously, the NFL does. It seems like the NFL doesn't care that much about like stuff that happens outside the shield, but like when it happens like directly to the NFL, they're like so quick to hop on it. Like I mentioned the Deflategate thing. Like as minor as that was, they blew that so ridiculously out of proportion to the point where like Brady got a round
pick or some shit. Where they take some dumb shit that nobody.
Yeah, and Brady's out for 4 games, and I think Bill Belichick's fine and all this other stuff. But I have a hard time sympathizing for somebody for knowing that it's just common sense not to do that. And you did it. And I do think you got to suffer from the consequences.
It sucks.
We can end it there.
I feel bad for Ridley. I feel like this is very heavy-handed, overhanded. Yeah, don't do it, but I feel like it's overhanded. Do you want to get into the NBA? Do you want to talk about a little bit NBA real quick? NBA season going on.
Actually, real quick, before we get to the NBA, I want to mention this to you. Did you see what happened with that Mexican soccer game?
No, I did not. I mean, yes, they went crazy. Mexican fans. It was fight.
No. It was a insane brawl. Like it was honestly kind of like disgusting what happened. So it was these 2 teams, and apparently they stormed the field. The entire fans, everybody in the stadium was like brawling and fighting each other, pulling chairs out of the stadiums, hitting people with it, jumping people, like 6 people on one guy. There's reported to be 26 injuries, 9 hospitalized, 2 seriously hospitalized. The Mexican government won't come out and say if there's any fatalities, but according to independent writers and independent observers, they're saying that the reported toll is what they read was 17 deaths. And it was just like an insane, just absolutely just kind of like disgusting like thing that happened. I was watching all the footage and everything. You just see like these people just like jumping this like guy hitting him with chairs, running onto the field, going after players and coaches. and like you see like kids and people taking off their jerseys so they don't get targeted. And apparently the supporter group of that team, they're like known for being like overly aggressive and like doing like violent shit. And like they're like been known to like show up at like player, like training facilities and like harass players and like ask them for money and like force them to give them money and like shit like that. And, dude, yeah, it's fucking wild. You got to see some of the footage if you're okay with watching stuff like that. But
I'm not into the hooliganism. I just Googled, like, I went on Twitter real quick and saw a little bit of it. It looks pretty bad. I think I saw something else.
When I first saw like, oh, Brawl, I'm thinking just like, you know, like we've seen him here, like at college football or something, just fighting. But I mean, like this shit was like violent. Like it was really bad. Like kids are like running, like there's people that are saying their friends died. Like it is insane. And then you look into the history of this. And it's kind of fucked up too, because they just kind of like, you know, Liga MX and FIFA, all they said was that we condemn them. And it's like, no, like, fuck that. Like everybody, even the Mexican fans and like every other Mexican fans, like, no, like they need to be removed from the first division and completely, and the owner should have to sell their team. Like they should be completely gone for just the lack of responsibility. Like apparently the private security that was hired and the police force that was there watching the game, they completely left. They ran away. They broke, I don't know if you know, but in a lot of Latin American stadiums, they have fences around the field because they're known for just like throwing shit and things like that. They broke down the fences, are all fucking on the, like they were able to push them down. Dude, it was a fucked situation. And yeah, I think it's fucked up that all the like FIFA and like Liga MX and the president of Liga MX, they're not saying anything. The owner of the team won't come out and say anything. And it's like, no, dude, like you should literally have like your one job as an owner's to put on a performance and make sure it's safely done. They need to get their whole fucking team completely eliminated from the first division and also just, you know, punish the fans and like, so like, you know what, you want to act like that, just completely lose your team. And I was hearing something too. It's like, and you should threaten like the Federation and Liga and like Mexico, like, look, if this shit ever happens again, because I don't know if you know, like in 2026, Canada, United States, and Mexico are hosting the World Cup. And they're like, if this shit happens again, you're completely revoking your World Cup bid. Yeah. Like completely and which is, if there's any country that cannot afford to do that, it's Mexico, because this is going to be the first World Cup within multiple countries. So they can easily just take those 3 cities that were going to host World Cup games in Mexico, just bring them over to the States. We got plenty of cities that can host it. Yeah. And it's just like, why isn't there none of that? And it's just like so fucked up that they're not like doing anything to reprimand the owners and the team and like anything. The shit was, I don't think I've ever seen some shit like that in sports, except for like maybe like in England when they had like the hooligan stuff. And people were saying in England when that shit went down, like they were suspended from like international play for like 5 years or something, that Liverpool couldn't play for like 6 years or some it was like insane. Yeah.
I would ban the fucking fans. Like nobody can come to this game. We're going to play this game in an empty stadium. Nobody comes.
They need to get rid of the team. I think they just banned the team. Hurt the owner. It's the owner didn't keep things in check. They knew that there was this like an aggressive thing that was happening. Yeah. And then it should also hurt the fans. Like they should just be fucking gone. And then FIFA needs to step in and just be like, look, this shit you better keep your shit in check, because we cannot force and risk like opposing fans, like who like and
some
like
international incident of some people coming to watch.
Or like even international teams, like the Champions League is going right now, and a lot of MLS teams are going to the games. It's still World Cup qualifiers. U.S. has to actually play in Mexico City in the next couple weeks, and people are asking like, should we go? Like, can we try? Like, is it safe? Like, and it's just kind of like. It's crazy that they're not doing anything about it, at least as of right now. That shit
I didn't see it. I mean, I'm just learning about it now, but it looks pretty disgusting. Like, I don't know, man. It looks awful.
I don't think there's ever been something like this before. And it's kind of fucked up, because then it gives the Mexican fans and the good like Mexican people of like a bad rep because of all the fuck shit that these thugs did. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, shit's wild. But I just wanted to bring that up, see if you saw that. That shit was just, it was one of the craziest things I ever seen.
Yeah, it's pretty pretty insane. Do we have any? No, MLS just started the season, right? The season just started. I didn't get a chance to watch the Austin game. I know you told me to watch I didn't get a chance.
It was bad. It was bad.
I went instead. I went to go watch the new Batman. That was my thing. That was Sunday. I went to go watch Batman. All right. And then
yeah, I got you.
Do some trivia. We're gonna end with basketball.
Yeah, we'll end it here.
Let's
By the way, as your audio listeners, Gabe, JoJo had to step away.
He told us earlier, so we know.
Yeah. So we all know, but just for the audience, yeah, he had to step away for a second. So that's why you probably haven't heard him in a while. Forgot to mention.
You didn't hear him talking. When we start talking about soccer, you know JoJo's not going to be around. Let's end with NBA. I was hoping JoJo would be here to talk about NBA, but let's talk about Kyrie making his return. Kyrie balled out, and the Nets, they seem to be pretty good. You know what? I'm going to say something controversial. The Nets. Brooklyn Nets pretty good. Julie,
pretty good.
Any thoughts? Any highlights that you saw from Kyrie Irving?
So he dropped 50 against the Hornets. Here's the big question that I've been kind of like I was seeing, like, will he actually like finish the season? Will he actually play in the playoffs? Kyrie has been virtually non-existent in the NBA, playing here and there whenever he feels like it for the past 5 years, something like that. Since this is a crazy stat. Since winning the championship in Cleveland, he has only played in 18 playoff games, and not all of those were due to injury. And this isn't. And also too, like going back to when they won the championship, this doesn't even have to do about like obviously the vaccine thing plays a part, but like. This is like pre-COVID too. Like he's just sitting out games. Like he won't play. He claims that he's going to stay in Boston. He just absolutely doesn't actually. He ends up leaving the next year. Like this is shown to be a consistent thing. And it seems like anytime he can find something to not play, he just doesn't play. Granted, I think some things that are kind of fucked up with like, you know, the Nets and like the New York things, like you can have unvaccinated away players play in Brooklyn, but he can't play in Brooklyn. So that's a little weird. And like, you know, those weird rules, somehow they work and they come up with these things that doesn't really make sense. But like I said, this has been happening even before that, where he just like, he sits out games. He doesn't play. He claims he's hurt. He sits out for other reasons, mental reasons, all kinds of things. And it's like, can we actually trust him to finish this season? Like, but do you think he will?
I think he will, especially now it seems like the mask mandates are loosening up. I don't know about the politics in New York, about, you know, what the mayor rules are, what the state governor rules are.
Apparently it's all good. It's all clear to go. He should be able to, like, he shouldn't, there shouldn't be a COVID issue in hand that would stop him from playing. What worries me is like just a plethora of issues. Like there's all kinds of reasons why he just doesn't end up playing. And and like I said, this even goes beyond what happened in COVID. It's like, it just seems like this guy never, ever since he won his championship, he has this idea that he just doesn't care, that the world revolves around him and he plays when he wants to play. Basketball isn't life. And it's like, look, dude, I get the sentiment that basketball isn't life, but you're getting paid $40 million a year to show up and fucking shoot hoops. Like you gotta do your fucking job. Like, you know, and I'm just curious to see, like, if he does continue to play, yeah, they should make the playoffs, no problem. They shouldn't even be in the play-ins. I think they could probably work their way up, higher up in the seed, especially when KD gets healthy. But it's like Kyrie going to Brooklyn was one of the big reasons why KD decided to go to Brooklyn and stay in Brooklyn. And I know KD seems like a really nice guy, and he seems like he's not very, like, you know, kind of keeps to himself. But I can imagine he's just getting annoyed. Like, it's been, what, how many years now? How long have they been in Brooklyn together?
I mean, it's only been, what, the second year? They came together. They came before Harden.
Was it second?
This year 2. I think this is year 2.
I thought this was 3 or 4. But even, like, the whole thing that happened in Boston the past couple, like, that was a disaster what happened. He just never fucking played. It's just wild, dude.
Yeah. I still feel like the Nets are still good. They made tons of acquisitions. They signed Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic should have came to the Heat, but he went to the Nets. That's fine. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is still injured. He's still. I don't know what the status is of his injuries, but I know he hasn't been playing. So, I mean, we should still see like how he fits into the thing. I think Julian, you said earlier, or in a previous episode, we talked about. You said like he's not going to be a factor. That he's not going to be offensively a factor. But that's still a piece that we want to see. They have names. They have big names. You know, they have Joe Harris. They signed Seth Curry. So
does that get you over the hump, though? You need Kyrie. I think if they win a championship, they need Kyrie and KD playing on the same court.
I mean, even though right now I think they're like
ninth.
Seed. Yeah, they're ninth or eighth right now. They would face our number one Heat. But I still think they're relevant. I think they're better than the ninth seed. They're probably mid tier.
They're 8.
They should be number 1. They should be up top 3, but I still think it'll make some
for that team. 8 is bad. 8 is bad. That is underwhelming, and that is not what you want.
Yeah, if you're fighting with like I don't know who's down there. Is it the Hawks?
Atlanta, Brooklyn, Charlotte, and Toronto?
Yeah, if you're fighting with them,
and the play-in. And those are teams with way less money tied up into players. With all that money that Brooklyn's spending, like they should be top 3.
With all the mask mandates going forward, I don't know about vaccination status and stuff, whatever. But as far as the mask mandates being relaxed, I think we'll see more of Kyrie going forward. And you know, he's been well rested. That's all I can say. He's been well rested. I don't know if he's game speed, but he's well rested.
We'll see about dropped 50.
Game speed. Yeah.
Granted, he played Charlotte. It wasn't like some world beater he did that too. Like I said, I think he should be fine, like clear to play when it comes to like COVID related stuff. I'm just worried that he's going to have some other reason, whether who knows what he could come up with. It just seems like the guy I don't know. It just seems like he doesn't want to play. He just gives me that vibe. And then he shows up every once in a while and he's like, you know what? I kind of feel like playing basketball today. And he like drops 50. But then like next week he's like, nah, I don't feel like it. No, I'm gonna sit out. My ankle hurts. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not a guy you want to put all your marbles into.
What they signed him to a big ass contract. Yeah. He's there, and whether you get him half a game, I don't know how the playoffs. We'll see. We'll see going forward. I still think they're competitive. Still a team to look out for.
When did Cleveland win the championship? When was that? 2016.
2013, 2014 was the Spurs. 2015 was when he left. No, 2015. 2015 is when LeBron
2015. Left. Are you serious?
Yeah, because the Spurs, they beat the Heat, and then LeBron left.
2016.
LeBron left Pat Riley in Las Vegas watching soccer.
You hear me?
What? Yeah,
it's 2016.
2016? Who won in 2015?
Golden State.
Oh,
Golden State. Right. Yeah, 2016 is when they were down 3-1, and they came back and won. So 6 years, Gabe, 6 years, and this man has played. And mind you, he's been on teams that have made the playoffs. He's been in teams that have made the playoffs, and he's only played 18 playoff games in 6 years, 5 seasons. That's bad, dude. That's just like. Since 2016, bro. COVID was in 2020. You still got 4 fucking seasons that he just like didn't play, essentially.
He's well rested. He doesn't have the mileage that LeBron has. And that's how I think we want to end this podcast. So ending with LeBron and talk about the Lakers, which we're not going to talk about because we don't need to talk about Bruno.
The Lakers are done.
I wish JoJo was here. I always want to talk about the Lakers. JoJo don't want to talk about the Lakers.
They're so bad. No one wants to. You want to talk about the Lakers. You like talking about the Lakers. Don't blame JoJo.
It's a big market.
You're a low-key Laker fan.
Team.
You're a low-key Laker fan.
I just want to see the demise of LeBron James. Anyways, I think that's a good spot to end it. This week, episode 43. Put it in the can. We did the damn thing. Even though JoJo had to go and do whatever he had to do. Julian's still here. Julian, tell the people where they can find the podcast. They're watching them, but where can they find them?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or Amazon Podcasts, whatever it's called over there. Google, YouTube. You know, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on everything. Anywhere you get podcasts and any social media you're on, we are there. And thanks for all the support on the YouTube. YouTube's been killing it lately. Got a couple videos with 1,000 views. That's huge. Getting some subscribers. Want to keep it up, man. We trying to do big things with this show. So.
We're trying to go to the moon. Anyways, we'll keep it up. We'll cover everything. NBA. Hopefully, we'll talk some more NHL in here. We'll talk more basketball, more football news as free agency is opening up. Hopefully, UFC. We can talk more UFC. We haven't been watching UFC, but we'll watch UFC if we can. MLS, all the sports here. Real Fans Podcast. We appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for checking us out. Peace.